Think about your own family situation. Some of you have family members like that. Would you want to be around them ever again? Would you not be happy living your life where you know you're actually thriving instead of just hanging on? Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well and that you had a great week. You know where I am, so to all of my house guests, welcome. Grab yourselves a drink and make yourselves comfortable. If you're passing by and you'd like to become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I'm Chez, this is Chez M0i. Welcome to my place. When I was out and about during the week, I heard a song being played on the radio that took me straight back to my time at high school in the 1980s. Obviously for copyright reasons, I'm not permitted to play the song, but it's entitled Just an Illusion by a group called Imagination. Those of you who are of a certain age may recognise the lead singer, Lee John, who incidentally actually lived a few minutes away from my school. Anyway, the chorus of the song always stuck in my mind. Could it be that it's just an illusion, putting me back in all this confusion? Knowing how my mind works, I tied these lyrics to the latest round of foolishness being spewed by the UK tabloids in their continued attempts to further discredit the Sussexes, simply because Harry completely outsmarted them the week before by dipping in and out of the UK without them realising until it was too late. Their objective was, as it always has been, to create an illusion in the British psyche in order to coerce Harry back into an endless cycle of chaos and confusion that they themselves manufactured. However, the feeble attempts of the UK tabloids backfired when the broadsheets corrected the fake narrative.
Indeed, right. Let's find out what's been going on behind the palace doors. There's a fair few headlines recently, isn't
there? Are. Sunday Times royal editor Roya Nika joins us now for her royal roundup. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's start first of all with Harry, because the rumour is that he's refusing to return to royal duties unless William... How do we know this?
Well, I have to say I'm puzzled by all of this coverage because, well, can I be honest?
Yes.
I did a very big piece on Harry recently for the Sunday Times magazine where I spoke to a lot of his friends, a lot of people who know him and are close to him now, and I didn't get the vibe from anyone that he's keen to return to the UK and keen to return to royal duties. So, yes, he comes back now and then for charity work. Yes, he came back for the Invictus Games anniversary in May. We'll probably see him here next month for Well Child. But I don't think he's looking for any kind of return, so I'm not sure where this is coming from.
Is it the speculation that we saw him at the funeral of their uncle with William? They weren't sitting together, of course.
Yeah.
We understand that he stayed with his uncle's family or his mum's family rather than his family.
Yes. And that was lovely, and I think you would expect to see him at the funeral of his uncle, who he was very close to, but I don't think that signifies any keenness to return to royal duties. I haven't got that sense at all from people close to him.
I think he's very happy sitting in Montecito, sipping on a margarita on the balcony.
He left, he chose to leave royal life, it didn't suit him. I don't think he's doing a U-turn anytime soon.
So he might not be keen from what you expect. Would the king welcome that return? Or is he sort of like, you know, Harry, right now I think you've got to stay where you are
I don't think the king is looking for any added numbers to the royal family on an official perspective. He loves seeing his son when he can, you know, as his son. But Harry and Meghan decided to leave. I don't see them coming back into the royal fold for working duties anytime soon, if ever.
Okay.
Do you know the other thing that's just an illusion? British values, because as I've said before, they simply do not exist.
Why do you need to make it about skin colour?
I'm not making it about skin colour,
Well,
but they're projecting the wrong image.
You rang up and said the reason you went on this protest is to protest against black people and Asians. All blacks and all Asians is what you said.
Well, 95% of them are problematic people.
How did you get to 95%, sir?
It's been proven statistics.
Where? Who? Show me. Tell me. You got in the car and you drove all those hours up to Middlesbrough to go and protest something that you can't evidence, for which there is no evidence to say they're 95% of the problem.
Well, this is what I've read.
Where?
On the internet, I've read it.
Do you take what you've read on the internet that 95% of black and Asian people are the problem? You take that as a fact?
Yeah.
Now, if an immigrant, regardless of their legal status, is viewed with such disdain, please stop expressing surprise when Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, is viewed through the very same lens, as is well documented by Scotland Yard. Another thing that I've always said on this channel is that people are free to express their opinions, even if you struggle to agree with them. But that doesn't stop me from inquiring what motivates someone like this, a former US reality show personality who's made a name for herself here in the UK by behaving like a rabid dog in her verbal attacks towards the Sussexes. There's a quote along the lines of, "Whatever you focus on will be magnified." So with that in mind, I have questions for this character and her ilk. Why is your focus not on the Princess of Wales, who you apparently hold in such high esteem? Should you not be fully supporting her in her period of fragility, instead of constantly zeroing in on her sister-in-law, who is doing very well, by the way, despite your vitriolic monologues and opinion pieces? Help me to understand why, if you feel the need to direct your anger towards a member of the British royal family, you find it difficult to focus on the King's brother Andrew, who is throwing a tantrum because his security is no longer being paid for by the King, and he apparently is refusing to leave his home at the behest of that same King. Where is your outrage for Andrew Windsor? This additional query is more directed at the woman in question. Is the real reason why you can't stand Meghan that you actually want her life? Which is why you appear to have got your boyfriend to propose to you in front of Kensington Palace. Newsflash! Your persistent attacks on the Duchess of Sussex frankly make you appear quite desperate to be in her shoes, which, by the way, you will never ever be. Another newsflash. Sycophancy towards Kate does not guarantee a role for you in the royal family, who would literally chew you up and spit you out. The fact that those who follow you appear to be more in favour of a royal family member who has a track record of inappropriate interactions with children and lives a life of entitlement, rather than being in favour of a member of the royal family who is actually making positive differences, says a lot about the type of person you are. It also reinforces the notion that traditional UK culture appears to have no reservations in supporting paedophilic behaviour, because they always try to keep these things hush-hush when it comes to Andrew. Just ask the royal family affiliated BBC. Let me show you how short-sighted the UK establishment is. As I've stated before, the Commonwealth predominantly comprises people who look similar to me. You don't have to be Einstein to understand that if the UK holds views similar to those in the audio I played earlier, further punctuated by the way the establishment treats a mixed heritage member of the royal family, why would it be a surprise that a number of countries in the Commonwealth see no need to be tied to a discriminatory monarchy? In other words, why would you stay where you're not appreciated? On the day this video uploads, it will be the 2nd anniversary of Queen Elizabeth's death. Who knew that 2 years on, the monarchy would be in a state of disorder and disarray, with some of those members wishing to work part-time with no arguments and zero discussion? Do you actually believe that Harry could care less at the prospect of not being invited to William's coronation? Because if that is the type of man who you consider to have kingly attributes, then God help the UK. As a well-known proverb clearly states, pride goes before destruction. Understand that pride will be the downfall of this institution. With the assistance of the UK tabloid media, it is more than happy to project the illusion that the Sussexes need them, rather than be humble enough to admit that they actually need the Sussexes, who are thriving in life and not hanging on by their fingertips. However, just in case you were in any doubt about Harry's position,
can you see a day when you would return as a full-time member of the royal family?
No.
okay guys, brief final thoughts from me. Yes, you heard what Harry said, he's not coming back. Like the royal correspondent said, Roya Nicker, I don't know where all of this has come from. It's just, for me, it's just another childish tactic from the UK trash media, because their noses have been put out of joint because Harry keeps outsmarting them. He didn't give them access to Columbia. He didn't let them know when he came to the funeral, his uncle's funeral. There's no reason for him to, you know, all of these stories, conflicting information about whether William was at the funeral or whether he wasn't. If he wasn't, you know, he only found out at the last minute that Harry was there and he was annoyed. And big people, the next king, is it's actually very concerning that this is the next king, because the level of immaturity is astounding. And with regard to Spare, Harry'd already said to Anderson Cooper when he was asked a question, he's not coming back, and that was when he was promoting Spare back in January last year. So this is over a year and a half that this book has been out, and the sales have been phenomenal. He's re-released it in paperback, or he's about to. Some people have said they've had it in the paperback format for a while. No additional material from what I understand. What I don't understand is why people are angry that it's being released in a new format. You don't have to buy the book. What is the problem? You know, I think sometimes people like to feign this offence because it gives them an excuse to just talk nonsense. Why are you offended that he's re-released the book? You literally do not have to buy the book. You know, there are people that have said they said they will never read the book, and they've read it. They've read it because the fascination is there. I listened to it on Audible. For those of you who have been with me for a while, you know that. And I'm trying to cast my mind back, because this is the other issue that I have, why they don't believe that Harry will never come back to the UK. They want him to leave Meghan and come back. First of all, he will never do that. He loves his wife too much. Yeah, where he goes, he's bringing his wife with him, you know, in life. I'm not talking about when he makes trips back to the UK. To my point, Why would you you have a mansion in California. You have all the space that you could need for your children to run freely in relative security and safety. Okay? You are not under the confines of an archaic institution who gives you an itinerary or has a diary plan about 9 to 12 months in advance. You can actually plan your own diary and not be treated like a child and told where to go and what to do, which ribbon to cut and where, which plaque to unveil and where. These are adults. They want to live their lives as adults. So why would you leave that and come back to the equivalent of Nottingham Cottage where they were living before, Harry and Meghan, where Meghan, according to Spare, had to buy a sofa, put it on her credit card. Why is that out of the realms of possibility that that could happen, when you know that the royal residences are undergoing a renovation program? And I've said before, one of my friends is she's involved in that, and it's been going for years, and I think I don't know when it's supposed to end, that program, but I think it's before 2030. Anyway, there's no money available to spare, pardon the pun, because Charles is very frugal. That's why he wanted the slim down monarchy. That's why he doesn't want to pay for Harry and Meghan, which is why he asked whether Meghan was going to continue to work after she got married to Harry, after she joined the family. He doesn't want to have to pay for them and their children. He's happy to pay for William and Kate and their kids because he's next in line to the throne. Royal family members get an allowance. They don't have a blank check to spend how they wish. So who wants to live like that, where you're relying on your parent or your dad, sorry, as an adult? You're relying on him to just have the bare necessities in life under the guise of service to the royal family. Even the Queen didn't want that job. She wasn't even supposed to have that job. Queen Elizabeth, that is, not this current so-called Queen. She didn't want that job. She was not meant to have that job. It's only because her uncle abdicated and her dad became the king, and then by virtue of that, she was next in line to the throne. And as much as she didn't want to be on the throne, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not a monarchist, but I believe she did a good job, and that will never happen again. Charles is weak, in my humble opinion. William will be weaker because he doesn't have the mental capacity. This guy is scared to become king, from what I can see. And he wants his dad to hang on for as long as possible because it's a daunting prospect for William. And in an ideal situation, Harry would have been there to support him. But if you're going to continue to treat someone with such cruelty, really, because I can't think of another word, why would you come back to that? Why would Harry come back into that toxic environment? Think about your own family situation. Some of you have family members like that. Would you want to be around them ever again? Would you not be happy living your life where you know you're actually thriving instead of just hanging on? Anyway, guys, the illusion that Harry is coming back is simply that. It's an illusion, and he's told you time and time again he's not coming back. So what the UK press are going to conjure up within the next 7 days, I have no idea, but it's going to be interesting because they are scrambling around. For some reason, they're not focusing on the next king and queen. They're not focusing on Andrew because it's too dirty for them to focus on. So they focus on the couple almost 5,000 miles away, which still doesn't make sense. Nothing in this country makes sense when it comes to the UK establishment, the UK government, and the UK trash press. With that said, guys, if your thoughts were provoked in any way, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I want to take this opportunity to thank you all so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and you shall catch me in the next video.